is to enable entrepreneurs to pace ahead in the right direction and help them achieve their highest sustainable goals with core analysis of their business model, inputs on structuring the model, and analyzing their point of challenge. Now, with a career spanning over a decade, she hasn't confined herself just to practicing her professional knowledge, but has also been successful in giving a face to her experiences throughout her professional journey. So that's Nikki Shah for us, a dynamic lady on the panel. Well, our next panelist is Ravin Modi, a handsome, young-looking man with us, head finance, India and SARC, Godrej Consumer Products, a multi-skilled finance professional with a vast experience of more than 10 years in the area of core finance like cross-border mergers and acquisitions, corporate structuring, treasury, direct taxation, insurance, financial reporting, devising, implementing management information systems, risk management. Yes, he's handled various portfolios and have grown horizontally and vertically within the organization and demonstrated people leadership with strong interpersonal skills and capability, building skills for the team. So that's Ravin Modi for us. And we have the next panelist, Sandeep Parikh. Hi, Sandeep. He is the Chief Operating Officer at Profectus Capital Private Limited. He is the Chief Operating Officer, as I said, and he's been into this organization since more than 2 years. He's also had a great experience with Reliance Home Finance Limited of more than 11 years. He's also been associated with the ICICI Bank as a Deputy General Manager, which started way back in November 2002. So that is Sandeep Parikh, a man with a lot of vision and lots to share with us. Next in our panel, we have Mr. Shrenik Shah. Okay, started at a very young age. And I would like to tell you all that he leads the business strategy and solution practices of SNCO and has more than 15 years of experience in different sectors at national, at the same time, the international level in various, sectors like finance, textile, service, entertainment, telecom, and so on. And prior to SNCO, Shrenik has worked with Deloitte, a large multinational accounting firm, and mid-sized firm Maltani and Associates. He's acted as a strategist and a solutionist. His great achievements have been that their firm got the best risk 2019. That was under his guidance. That's lovely, Shrenik. And he's also been handling certain key projects like the fraud detection of more than 20 cases, like worth greater than 100 crores. He is also into debt securitization, pool servicing, and due diligence for more than 200 deals, I should say. That's good. And he's also been into developing tools. And I wish him good luck for what he has to disclose to the viewers later. Yes, so welcome once again to all my panelists.
Okay. Thank you so much, Nisha. I guess this kind of an introduction must be one of the beautiful things we have heard during the lockdown. Thank you so much for that.
It's been my pleasure. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is this is for the information of our viewers and the participants. We would be shortly beginning with the question answer round, and I'm sure the participants would have had some queries and all that. The panelists are going to be taking care of that too in the end. But yes, one each, I'll be shooting some questions to our participants. Okay. As they say, ladies first. Nikki, this is for you.
Yes.
Okay. Nikki, now, people are talking about the impact, or where do you see your business going down and what's next? What are the steps as an entrepreneur? What, you would be guiding? So what are your views like? Would you like to share something about it?
Yeah, definitely. So most welcome to all the participants. And I must first of all appreciate all of you that you are the entrepreneurs who are the ones who have taken the responsibility to take your businesses a step forward, not got frightened with the crisis that is on the way, which is gonna go deeper as well. But yes, you are the ones who are responsible, and hence you have taken this opportunity to come up and listen to the views. And I hope that we can put forth some of our views, which may be useful to all of you. So to answer precisely to the Nisha's question, I believe all the entrepreneurs are some or the other ways going to be affected because of the crisis that have come up due to COVID-19. Though all the industries are affected, we can still say that a few industries are on the stage or would be on the stage of revival in a couple of months, and a few would be at a stage of survival. So we can say probably it is a journey from survival to revival, which will go on from next 3 months to maybe extended for a year or two for a couple of industries which are maybe very deeply impacted. One of them can be travel. At this juncture, what is important for all the entrepreneurs is to plan. And we have at SNCO has derived a 7-box theory, wherein we say that these are the steps which all the entrepreneurs out to have taken up at this time. If you have not planned till now, this is the time to act upon, as all of us are also aware that there are few sectors which are going to be opening up from Monday. So it is the time to, push the pedal and put your cars into the fourth gear and just start taking actions. So first of all, we will say what is the first thing that all the entrepreneurs should do. I will say communication. Communication will be the key that you need to begin with. Communicate to your customers, communicate to your employees, communication to your stakeholders, communicate with your vendors and understand from them what amount of goods they'll be able to supply. Understand from your customers whether the orders still stand. Understand from your employees their mindset, how many of them will be able to travel, because as we know that okay, from Monday we are allowed to start, but yes, the travels are shut, the trains aren't available, so we'll have to start with our limited resources. So the first step we'll have to do to understand the different scenarios that will be developing of our businesses, we need to communicate with our customers and understand from them whether the revenues are going to be 10% down, 30% down, or for a few thriving sectors, they're actually going up. So that would be the first step that we would say that we need to do. Second, and the most important thing will be have a scenario analysis done. Since you would have already communicated with your customers, you know what kind of further scenarios may dwell upon. It is always said that it is better to be ready with plan A and plan B, because as we say that we are comparing this situation with a war type situation, and you don't go for a war fighting without having a backup plan. So it is always better to have multiple scenarios planned, that just in case, a quick example is what I'll just put forth. In case we have got a scenario that your production manager is put into containment, what are you going to do? So this is where you need to have a backup plan ready. So that is scenario analysis in terms of your revenue, in terms of the expenses, in terms of all the key elements or essentials that are required for the business. So have your scenario analysis done. That is point number 2. The third step would be process redesigning. Our businesses are going to be undergoing a lot of changes in terms of operations, in terms of all the functional processes they have been doing earlier. Let me give you an example of one of the dessert manufacturing company who is our client, and we have been in constant touch with them and working on them and helping them in their crisis management. What we understand from them is that they will also start operations maybe a week later, but they need to completely redesign their processes. You will have to have sanitizers at the beginning. At times also have hand washing basins being created outside the offices. You will also have to ensure how do we manage the operationally people management amongst the offices, the delivery patterns, the patterns of taking care of the health and sanitization is going to be on the top of everybody's mind at this juncture. So especially what we will have to do is process redesigning. The fourth and the most critical part, whatever 3 things which we spoke about are all short-term and immediate impacts that we need to take care of. At the same time, we should also eye upon the long-term sustainability of our businesses, which is where we see that because of COVID-19, there can be a lot of change in the consumer behavior. what we can immediately also foresee is that a lot of our consumers are now going to be rather preferring online mode of shopping rather than coming to a brick and mortar store. At the same time, you can also see that the consumer spending for some period of time may be more diverted toward essential products rather than to discretionary or luxury products. We are also able to foresee that a lot of consumers might want the delivery to be received at their doorsteps. Now, these are all the changes which we foresee that may come due to COVID-19 in the consumer's behavior. We have to ensure, we as entrepreneurs have to ensure that our business model adapt to those changes and they are redefined to make sure that this consumer behaviors are adapted to it. Like for example, till now, if I was only having a brick and mortar store was sufficient, but now I have to relook at the option of making me digitally present. So like omnipresence will be the need of the hour. Maybe collaborating with some of the other delivery partners for the delivery can be one of the solutions. So basically what we're trying to say is we need to adapt to the changes and make those changes in our business model as well. So as we said, collaboration can be one of the methods that you can use to adapt to the changes that are required. So that was the fourth one. Fifth one, obviously important, is you will have to also go through and make sure that we identify each problem that may come up in the function areas that the company is dealing in, identify the problem and make sure that those problems are resolved at the first end, or you have the option of moving ahead with them with different alternate means being available. Now, sixth point, that is again one of the key things to be speaking about. I will call it as wisely using your cash. Cash is going to be the king, and the one who has cash with them will be able to sail through these times. But mind as well, I have very precisely used the word wisely using the cash. I'm not saying that the entrepreneur should not pay their employees or should not do the expenses that are required. We are saying definitely pay your employees. That is a must because the economy has to survive, and economy will survive only when the people also have the power to spend. So, but at the same time, it is very important that we wisely use our cash for the next couple of months to ensure that we are capable of taking care of any unprecedented situation that still forthcome in front of the entrepreneurs. And the last and the seventh and the most important thing is regular monitoring of the entire business function, entire business areas, entire cash cycles, and see to it wherever further tracking and revival is required. I believe if this 7 box theory, if the 7 steps is what all the entrepreneurs out to do to ensure that they sail through these times. Thank you, Nisha. That would be all.
Yeah, Nikki, that was great. The survival to revival technique and the 7 steps as takeaways were great, I'm sure, for the participants. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Ravin, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
What do you think, during these times is the role of a CFO like? Would a CFO have to manage a crisis situation, and how would he or she bring in the financial discipline? What's your say?
Yeah. So, Nikki, thanks for giving the opportunity to be present here, and thanks all the other panelists also. So, I hope everyone listening to the webinar is safe and at home. Over a period of last few months, we have experienced unprecedented uncertainty, and this is likely to continue over next few weeks or say probably months. The entire crisis has unsettled the underpinnings of our economic structure, and it's going to take, as I said, few more months to start coming back to normalcy. But the new normal is going to get defined in terms of social distancing and as Nikki rightly pointed out, the focus is going to be on essentials, and discretionary spends are going to clearly take a pause for a while. And work from home will emerge as a new normal. A lot of companies have already started doing it. We have seen TCS make an announcement few days back that they've made plans of 75% of the workforce to continuously work from home going forward. this means that entrepreneurs like all of you guys will have to reimagine business right from the product lines. Supply chains will get reimagined, marketing spends, and the cost structures are also going to undergo a complete change. So in light of that, the role of a finance championing the entire organization out of this crisis is going to completely change. So working with businesses has been a key role of a finance head, and the entire finance team works towards it. So the business partnering role actually is going to increase over next 1 or 2 years. I think finance heads will continuously have to keep on pushing businesses to remain agile and, more importantly, nimble. The finance head also will have to reorient business processes and look at and urge the business heads to look at the current portfolio in a very, very different manner. So all of you would have seen that Swiggy Zomato has partnered with all major FMCG companies to deliver essentials. In fact, Netmeds partnered with Reliance Retail to deliver essentials. In fact, Zoomcar, which is a car on rental service, has started delivering essentials to doorsteps. So like that, I think businesses who have remained nimble, who have spotted opportunity in the crisis, have done extremely well in last few weeks. And I think this is how all the businesses will have to continuously keep on looking at opportunities in very, very, whether niche or major spaces, to come out of this entire crisis. Digital commerce and digital economy is going to pave a completely new way of growth. So Nikki mentioned about people opting for home deliveries, whether it is of essentials or non-essentials over a period of time. But apart from that, digital marketing initiatives are also going to leapfrog in comparison to what it is today. So I think a lot of FMCG companies also, whose marketing is tilted towards TV, will start looking at digital modes in a far more aggressive manner. As far as the role of CFO is concerned, for its core finance activities, I think right from managing various cost lines to conserving cash, the work is going to significantly increase. So I can tell you of things like most of the other FMCG companies have done to look at all the cost line items far more sharply. So cost to serve actually is now getting determined by supply, and it is no more linked to demand. So all these schemes which are given in the market have gone completely reduced. There is no more need to fight in the market for shelf space, because the shelves for first 2-3 weeks were empty. So people who would have grabbed the shelf space in the beginning are more likely to get benefited over a longer period of time. Apart from that, the organizations which are going to take a view on continuing with the workforce, whether it is on roles or off roles, are over a period of time likely to be more successful than the organizations which have decided to take massive pay cuts. But that cannot come at the cost of profitability and not at the cost of cash. So which means that the CFOs will have to work very, very closely in reducing non-manpower costs. So right from negotiating rentals, which most of you would have read in newspapers, which all the larger houses have done. The travel anyway is not going to happen for next few months. Airlines and rail is going to open very, very slowly and in cautious manner. So that's a saving which will happen. All the non-essential costs, in fact, in terms of consulting agreements and a lot of other costs which can be deferred, including new launches in the space of non-essential categories, can be deferred. For listed companies, there is a scope for sending annual reports through emails rather than printing physical copies. So whether it is a smallest rupee which is spent to few crores, I think there are a lot of other opportunities also in the automation space. So the companies which are focused on automation in the space of automizing accounts payable, bank transactions, and leveraging the ERP systems which they have, I think they have undergone, or they are going to leverage enormous benefits. In fact, auditors also, since we have some of them sitting in the panels, they have also started reorienting themselves. I have seen physical verification of inventory happening over Zoom calls. So that's the way businesses have started reorienting themselves in doing things differently and yet delivering on the timelines. So I think a lot of it is also emerging from the fact that people have chosen optimism and positivity for coming out of the crisis, and people are continuously thinking that what are the various modes to ensure continuity and not get shaken by the current crisis. Any business who wants to evaluate non-manpower cost, there is a scope easily for reducing 30 to 40% of their costs in the current scenario. And then you can break down the businesses into today, tomorrow, and day after, and whatever needs to be done can be done day after. Nothing needs to happen between today, tomorrow. Try and conserve that cash and focus on generating avenues for cash. So manage your working capital cycles very, very tightly, especially receivables. Inventories, we understand, is going to be more supply driven and not demand driven. So people have got manufacturing permissions extremely slowly, and supply chains were broken for a fairly long period of time. They have started building up now. So inventory, we understand, is very, very supply driven. Payables, all payment terms can be renegotiated. Try and negotiate whatever you can, defer whatever payments that you can, and keep that cash part of with you. All the capital expenditures which are not in the non-essential, which are in the non-essential space, please defer them out. Everything can wait. So, and keep on continuously thinking about raising capital through alternate ways. We are going to listen to Sandeep also in later part of the day. He's going to talk about that. So I think on a softer side, Nikki mentioned about communication. Over communication in these times is going to be extremely helpful. So communicate with all stakeholders. More importantly, your employees, give them the comfort that this crisis, though has stayed for a longer time, we are going to come out of it fairly confidently. It's just that we have to manage the today and tomorrow well. So optimism and positivity, as I said earlier, is going to play a very, very key role to help us all navigate through this crisis. Thanks, Nisha.
Yes, Ravin, that was like a good takeaway for the participants, like about the new norms, cost lines to conserving cash. Yes, those were. I have one more quick question. I mean, for you, Ravin, once again, how do you see the impact, like an impact on the valuations of the business and brand, Ravin?
So this is a very broad question because the valuations are going to definitely undergo change, but that is going to be very, very different for every sector and every business line, because there are businesses which operate in the essential space. The impact on those businesses is going to be lesser in comparison to businesses which are in the discretionary space or in the non-essential space. And anyway, see, valuations are, whether it is of brand or business, are done for multiple reasons. They are done for raising capital. They are done for strategic divestments or M&A opportunities. They are also done for the impairment testing, which is done at the end of the financial year for audit purposes. One important point to note here is valuations which are mostly going forward, values to be determined for business are also dependent on how the business has done up till now. So people know that a lot of rules of the game have changed in the near term because of the crisis, but people also are aware that the managements which have made multiple scenarios and have kept on looking at situations far more in a far more quicker manner on a weekly basis or a monthly basis, and have steered the companies out of these crises, are likely to be successful in the long term. So while doing valuation, people are going to pay or ascribe value to the management quality. So if we have to quantify, the quantification is going to be high for the discretionary spends, and the valuation impact is going to be low for the essentials. Plus, there is going to be premium definitely, which is going to be paid for the quality of management who is helping the business to come out of this uncertainty.
Thanks, Ravin. Shrenik, yes. I have a question for you, Shrenik. We understand like to support decision-making processes, like you have developed a tool. So then can you just, give a brief kind of a takeaway about this tool for the benefit of our viewers? Shrenik is not audible. You'll have
He's
to,
on mute.
yes. Shrenik, you'll have to, yes.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
So good evening, everyone. Yeah. Thanks, Nisha, for having a very crispy introduction for me. And where you ended my introduction, I'll start from there. So you ended my introduction saying that I'm developing a lot of tools and techniques. So I'll start from there. That why this tool for this type of crisis, and I'm dividing this entire discussion into three segments. So I believe too much into tripod theory. So everything which I develop is always contains three subsets of it. So in this my discussion also I'll break my discussion into three segments. So why this, what is this tool, then
Sorry to
why this
interrupt
tool
you,
is
Shrenik. If you could also, like, when you are talking about this tool, you could also, like, how is this tool available to our participants? If you could throw some light too, that will be wonderful.
Sure. So I'll divide the segment. So first I'll come up with saying that why this tool. So this tool, I'll start vaccine. So right now we all in this today's pandemic situation, Corona, we all are hunting for the right vaccine. So we have also tried and attempted to get a right vaccine for crisis management. So that is where we started, we thought, and it got it born. And the journey of almost a month, we took it and we developed one tool which is crisis management, Planify. The name is Planify. So the name itself says it is very simple to use it. Plan simply and use it simply. So, and second thing which I want to clear is there is a myth always in the market saying that every tool which is developed in the market is always ERP based tool. So that is where we were thinking that we want to break this myth. So fortunate to get an opportunity to break this myth. So our tool is not a ERP based tool. It is purely focusing on the framework which is a direct eye to the management. So it is more of a macro tool rather than going into the micro sensitivity of each and every ground reality aspect. But nevertheless, it covers entire every part of the segments of your business life. So that is a myth which we want to clear it out. And this tool is basically a framework where people can use this at his own choice. And framework conceptualized based on tripod theory. So tripod theory is everything is into three segments. So there is an input, there is an output, there is a action plan, there is a dashboard. So everything is into three. There are scenarios which are again divided into three segments. So every module will have three scenarios where you can pick, you can choose, and you can then see the result out of it. So our tagline, our signature of Planify is also saying that virtual to reality. So meaning virtual, so you plan virtually, you visualize a lot of scenarios virtually, but on real hand, you want a lot of impact to see it. So that real hand impact will be seen in our tool, which will facilitate to monitor, to plan your cash flow more effectively and efficiently. So that is how Planify is all about. Now, little taking deeper into that, what are the some few features of Planify? So Planify is purely on the scenario based. So there are being into dynamic environment, there is no static user acceptance. It is purely user has to define a scenario. User has to see what is good for him, what is bad for him, what is not working for them, what is working from them. So they have to just pick and choose that scenarios. They will get the result in the form of a cash flow. So that is one of the very interesting feature, because generally we see the tool which is always of a static environment. This tool is purely a dynamic environment. And every time you can change what you want to change. So, and second is there are different types of dashboards to have a direct view to the management, and they can easily plan out the action plan. Third, the cash flow is fully integrated with all the modules which we have prepared. So there is no intervention, there is no adding, subtraction. It is purely you close one module, automatically the effect is given it to the final cash flow module. So cash cash flow technically is a mirror effect of entire actions which you took it on other modules. So it is fully integrated and automated. Fourth, the very important part that being into this crisis, we foresee that it is 3 months crisis, or we may see it is a 6 months crisis. So our endeavor was to break it into broken period concept. So entire tool is broken into 3 months cycle. So you plan, you next month again you can plan. You plan again, you can have a direct default month planning, which you did it in the previous month, can come into current month without any changes, without any effort. So it is very easy to adopt into the next month scenario. Again, you can choose, again, you can pick a different scenarios for your own business, considering how it works. Fourth, we have featured very utility feature, which is a news feed feature. So every month there will be some or the other developments which is happening in the market, be it be governance issue, be it be your compliance issue, be it be any other which is related to the business environment. That will be taken care of in the news feed. So people who have installed or who are going to use this tool will be felicitated with this type of feature. So this is few features of Planify. Now, why people should adopt this? Yeah, why people should use it? What is the benefit eventually people will foresee from having a Planify into their system? So Planify is giving a very holistic view on a different scenarios. The second is it's a real time. So every time you can change your modules, every time you can change your scenarios, you will get a direct cash flow effect on a no time basis. So it's a very much real time. Third, very interesting is we have tried to cover almost all the corners of your business cycle. So be it be people, be it be vendor, be it be your customer, which is collection, be it be your expenses, and finally your cash flow. So try to figure it out, the real neck and nerves of the entrepreneur, and put it into the perspective of the real flavor, how it will be impacted to the businesses. And me being into forensic side, I'm a hardcore forensic fraud detection investigation. So obviously taking care of a lot of that angle, that how this tool will even felicitate from the fraud awareness or fraud perspective angle. And last, to end up with the benefit is it's basically you manage your own cash flow rather than anyone else managing your cash flow. So our hashtag is DIY. Basically it says that do it your own way. So everything is to be done by you at your own way. Our tool will just facilitate to you plan effectively, efficiently, and give you the impact on terms of numbers. So you can easily see your numbers, how it is going in scenario to scenario. So if time permit, Nisha, then I can brief little bit on the one of the module. Is it time allowing me?
Sure. I think you could just take up.
Okay, so I'll just give little glimpse on the people side. So people right now, Nikki said something on people, even Ravin said something on people side, and even Ravin said something on expense side also, that there is to differ if defer your expenses. So that is where right the knock is, that we have incorporated the scenarios in such a way that if you want to defer your cost, so for how many months you want to defer? So say as per Ravin is of the opinion that it should defer by 3 months. So you just have to select 3 months, the cost will automatically defer and you will get the result in the cash flow, that how much you have saved your cash flow. The same way Nikki had highlighted something on the people side. So we are not suggesting that the cost should be reduced, but obviously there is a need to optimize the cost. So if that optimization is required, you can easily go into our tool. There is a module called Re-Strategize. So you re-strategize your entire cost in people, you will get the cash flow output saying that this is what you are saving by doing this scenario. This is what you are going to save by selecting this scenario. So you select the scenario, you will get the result. You select the scenario, you will get the result. So basically the action plans are into reduction, deferment, optimization, re-strategy, everything come up to an framework, which is again macro. So we are not asking for individual employee salary, neither we are asking for individual vendors. We are only asking is the category of vendors. Again, we are asking only type of employees, nothing in detail, which people, entrepreneurs generally wanted not to be disclosed fully to the tool people or to anyone else. So this will be maintaining the confidentiality. We have taken that into consideration, and only the macro information have been inputted in the tool, and accordingly we will get the output. So we have tried to design in such a way that it's very user friendly and easy to adopt into different variety of challenges and environment. That's it from Planify. So your second question was in terms of how people can use this.
Yes.
So this is a SaaS model where software is on a service-based model where people have to use it on a license-based, and you just have to go into planify.co.in and you'll get the access for 7 days free trial. Use it. If you like it, go for the paid version, or else you can use it as a demo, take the filler of it, and give a feedback. This is what my side for Planify is all about.
Okay. Thanks, Shrenik. We don't know when the COVID vaccine would be coming, but we have a macro tool for our businesses ready. So for the lives of our businesses, I'm so glad. Thanks, Shrenik. We'll come back to you in the end again. Yes, Sandeep, over to you now. Okay. Like during times of such kind of a pandemic, it's like everybody is eyeing like government kuch karta kyun nahi, government kab karega. So it's something of that sort. So what do you think? What are the financial aids expected from the government? And do you think, is there any proposal in the pipeline?
Okay, first is thanks Nisha for hosting us out, and all the listeners and Saturday afternoon 4 o'clock, I mean, you're taking time to listen to us. That's good, and that's really good. Okay, quickly, before we come back to what the government is planning to do or can do or will do, the previous panelists like of Nikki of Survival to Revival, or Ravin explaining to the people of, how to manage costs and all. Let me just give you a brief about, okay, what we as lenders, indirectly I represent the lending industry, and we to this class of people who are our viewers, the small and medium enterprise, what we lenders look at them as a bunch of people, and to the broader SME as a class. First and foremost, our belief is that this whole impact of Corona, yes, will it slow down this stuff? Yes, it has slowed down this stuff. Will it change the way things will work? Yes, my previous panelists have explained how things will change and what you need to manage. But is this slowdown going to be a lifelong impact? The answer is no. Maybe among the panelists, I'm the oldest one with almost 28-30 years of work experience. I can tell you, in my career in 3 decades, have we come across such situations in the past? Yes, we have come across many times. As a country, as a bunch of people, have we overcome this? We have always overcome this. So therefore, is it everything gloomy? The answer is no. Is there end of the day light? There is a lot of light around that. So that is, broadly what I would always say. The earth is not going to fall. So there is a big day. Yes, we need to plan. We need to take the step by step. Yes, it's darkness right now. So, when you're taking steps in dark, you need to be really careful for every step. But does that mean that there is no light end of the tunnel? No, there is a lot of light end of the tunnel. Now, coming back to your question, Nisha, is what is the government planning to do? My question to my listeners is, what do you want the government to do? In the sense, when I say what do you want the government to do, in the sense, yes, fair enough. Most of us here, chartered accountants, we understand that the fiscal situation is tight, yes. But still, the government has its own ways and means of giving you help in the form of subvention, that if you buy certain kind of machineries, or if you are going to do certain kind of activities, the government will come and help you in subsidizing a part of the cost. So is there certain schemes? There are already certain schemes running by various state governments and the central government, either through SIDBI, NABARD, various organizations, where they come and give you interest subsidy, they come and give you capital subsidy. But the whole question, Nisha, again here is, are they going to fund you 100% of it? The answer is no. They will come and fund you, say 10%, 15%, 20% of your cost or of your capital cost. So now the whole thing is the viability has to be your own business. You have to bring in the viability. Yes, I will come and support you. If you want 100 rupees, I will come and give you 15, 20 rupees. But the viability for the 80 rupees is what you are going to create. You as an SME are going to create. You will have to come back to a lender and saying that, yes, at 100 rupees, this was not making little business sense. But at 80 rupees, if somebody comes and puts in the balance 15, 20, it makes sense for me. And therefore, it becomes viable. And why this product is important for me as an organization, as an SME, and for the broader macro economy, how it will help them. See, one of the stuff which I have seen, experienced over and this is live experience over last 3-6 months, when you are dealing, people saying that we want the government to do this, we want the government to do that for us. Now tell me, how will the government come to know that what the average people want? So what our experience has been through our industry, we have a body, we represent our body, our industry through the Ministry of Finance, RBI and all. And, when you create that industry body and when you represent, you get the right things from. Does the Ministry of Finance or any ministry, and do they understand that there is a problem? They understand there is a problem. But do they know what should be they doing? As a body, we need to go and tell them that, okay, see, this is the help we want. This is where we are stuck. If you do this, we will, this is the outcome. And if they appreciate the outcome, the action is there. So the way we look at it is, yes, okay. Now coming back to your micro answer of your question, is the government planning to do something? Yes, governments are planning to do a lot of things. But the question is that we need to go and tell the government that, okay, this is what I want you to do for us. To give you a simple example of the way some of the thoughts of the government are today is on scrapping of old vehicles. If you scrap out a 15-year-old vehicle and buy a new vehicle, the government will come and give you X percentage of the cost of the new price. Now, this is what the Manufacturers Association went and represented to the government, saying this is how you can help us in reviving our economy, our industry body. So it is again, back to the industry body who has to go and ask. See, it is something like, if you are hungry, you need to go and ask. Nobody is going to come and continuously saying, "Acha, 4 baj gaya, means ab bhuka hoega to kuch kha lo." No, it doesn't work that way. Unless you ask, things don't come into your plate. So similarly, as an entrepreneur, if I don't ask, things are not, the government, the body, the system will not move in your favor. So you have to make them move in your favor.
Okay, thanks, Sandeep. As you said, unless you ask, so I'm sure the participants, the viewers, have something more to ask to you. What do you suggest? What are the alternate ways of funding? Like, can you make our viewers aware about this? Some of the financial products. See,
I'll tell you. Alternate ways of financial products. Today's date, people do understand that. Borrowing from equity or borrowing against from private equity players and all would be easy. My take on this is for next quarter or 2, 3 or 6 months, it would not be very easy to raise alternative funds. But on the same breath, today's date, our bankers are very positive about our industry. And again, if you would be implementing what my other panelists like Nikki or Ravin said, and you have your processes clean, very good managed. Today's date, bankers will not be shy of lending, of giving you money till the time you are able to, display that you have been doing everything what is there on your table. Like I'll request all the entrepreneurs that typically one of the stuff which we observed when we look at request for people to borrow money from us is that most of the time they do not complete their the statutory and non-statutory obligations itself. I mean, they might have paid their taxes but not filed their returns. You know, all those very, very basic things. Till the time you discipline yourself in all these areas, I mean, life is going to become a little difficult. But yeah, come 6 months down the line, and if you are able to prove the right kind of valuations, private equity money or various kinds of people coming in to invest in your business, there would be a lot of people who will be ready to invest in your business. But again, the question is that how will getting somebody's private, equity is not very easy. They will come and, it's not that they just invest. They will come with their expertise also. And so you need to be ready for both. So you take their money also, and you need to take them on board for everything and anything.
Thank you so much, Sandeep. That was really helpful. Well, it was really indeed a very refreshing session, very enriching session with you panelists. Wonderful. And there is a small kind of a message for the participants today, like SNCO Global has organized an e-class program where the panelists will share tips to manage post-lockdown. Participants will be shared link of the same. Right, Shrenik, if you have something to add to this, will you just help me? You need to add something to my message to the participants. You're planning to organize an e-class, right? Yes. Can you hear?
Nikki is planning an e-class.
Okay. So then, Nikki, fine. Do you have something more to add to this?
So Nisha, actually the thought of e-class crept up from the belief that we are ourselves entrepreneurs, and we believe that if we know something which can be of help for the other entrepreneurs at this juncture, then it is our duty to spread that. Out of this feeling, we have started this e-class program wherein we will be sharing across. We have been doing this over the past 1 month with a few attendees over the WhatsApp group, and we further offer to extend this help to the others also. So probably the ones who wanted to join can send us a message, and we can add them to the group as well.
Okay. Shrenik, do you want to share something with the participants? Is that?
No. I am done with the.
Yeah. Okay.
Tool
fine. So can we, if the panelists are ready, we have a set of questions from our participants. They would be really glad if you could, just sort their queries out. So just give me a moment. I'll probably sort out those questions that I have. And Nikki, we have a question for you.
Yes.
What is the scope of service sector like luxury salons, spas, post-lockdown? What's the scene?
Okay, I'm happy to take that question. See, as I mentioned earlier, for all businesses, the 7-box theory that we mentioned about communication, about adapting to the business model, conserving cash, your process redesigning, all of this is definitely applicable to all the sectors. But yes, if I talk about the luxury sector, the luxury salon and spa sector at this juncture, what I foresee is a little shift in the consumer behavior. What we see is that the consumers, the ladies, if I speak of myself at this juncture, I'll be a little informal in this stage, is like, when I see myself in the camera, I feel like after days I have maybe dressed up, and thanks to this webinar that it has given me this opportunity. So yes, we all ladies, and for that matter, even men, would like to groom ourselves, go out and, groom ourselves in the luxury salons, have some kind of de-stressing and relaxation by going to the spas. But yes, what will be at the top of our minds would be ensuring our safety and security and hygiene, right? So what I would say is that all the salons and spas who would want to start up, definitely they'll also have to keep up, first thing in their mind is ensuring the safety and hygiene of their customers. If they are able to convince me or put forth their steps that they have taken and confirm me or reaffirm me about my safety, yes, maybe there will be customers who would want to go. So that's point number one. Point number two, there still will be customers who are loyal and faithful to you, but are not ready to come to your doorsteps at this juncture. We need to give them time. but at the same time we are entrepreneurs and we understand that there is always a scope of other salons trying to take away the share of my customers, you know. So that is the moment what I believe all the luxury salons, or that for that matter all the other industries who are not able to serve their customers at this juncture, is to they need to engage their customers maybe in different ways. Let me just share you a small example of one of our clients whom we suggested this solution. Was also into a salon. At this juncture, what you can do is, one of the ways of engaging is have a Zoom meeting of all your customers, share your tips with them as to what all things they can do at home to take care of themselves, or maybe some other knowledge which is unique to you can be shared across. When we do this, the advantage will be you are still engaging with your customers, you will still remain on their minds whenever they decide, or they mentally whenever they are prepared to come out and pamper themselves. So I believe engaging the customers, communicating with them and guiding them, probably ECG, engage, communicate and guide, that is going to be the new method of marketing with your customers, be it into any sector. So I believe that is what these salons need to do, is find a unique way to communicate and engage with their customers who may not immediately join with you, but whenever they are ready to take a leap, they are still going to be your customers. I hope
Yeah.
I've answered the query.
Thanks, Nikki, for that. Ravin, the viewer, I mean, participants kind of are inquisitive to know how do you maintain a fine balance between the staff salaries and the business overheads?
That I think I've covered in my opening speech itself. And just to reiterate, I still believe people are the most important thing. In fact, the government of India, way before all other governments in the country, chose lives over livelihoods. So I would still maintain that stance that try and protect as much salaries as you can for the people. It is a matter of their livelihoods, their EMIs, and their expenses are dependent on you. Try and cut all the other expenditure that you can, right from rentals to all the other spends that can be deferred, in fact including capital expenditure, all non-essential category new launches, defer, renegotiate your payment terms with the vendors, do everything to protect your cash flow while protecting the livelihoods of people who work with you.
Okay, thanks, Ravin. There is one more question which is towards you. It's like, what would be the impact on the exports of India? And it's like always seen, you know, great opportunities usually come during the time of crisis. So what's your take like? And how many Indian companies can enter into the new markets or probably expand, you know, the existing ones can expand?
So I'm an eternal optimist. I think this is going to give us a phenomenal opportunity for developing our export markets. So we have seen how many companies have got permissions from US FDA to export hydroxychloroquine tablets. So pharma companies were in for a ball, exporting to almost all the countries in the world. In fact, we saw news of our Prime Minister and also Uttar Pradesh government inviting all the companies, like ranging from FedEx to Cisco, who want to exit China to set up shops in India. It is not only going to create jobs, but also going to create enormous export opportunities. In fact, export opportunities are going to go up significantly for all the categories which fall immediately into the essential segment, but it's going to extend to electronics and all the other things where dependence on China will go down progressively and dependence on India will go up. So India has a fair opportunity to grab that share from China. In fact, people are going to ask, like African countries are going to ask for hand sanitizers, hand wash, soaps. A lot of other countries are going to ask for these surplus capacities as India has once the lockdown phases out. So anybody who is looking out for export, currency has depreciated 7-8%. The government has come out with relaxation on export receivables. They've extended the timelines from 9 months to 15 months. I think both from the currency point of view, the relaxations provided by government in the interim period, and the opportunities which is put forward to all the entrepreneurs, I think this is the opportunity. Keep your eyes and ears open and just work and get it.
Thanks, Ravin. Nikki, we have one more question for you. it says like, how do you regain and cope up while one is into the hospitality industry, like, which is absolutely the most affected one?
Mm. True, Nisha. As I mentioned earlier, there are few sectors which are very deeply impacted, and the impact is also going to last for maybe couple of more months to go. What I believe, to those sectors, the first thing that we need to do is conserve cash. That will be the most important thing, because unless you have cash in hand, you this is the first thing that you will need, even if post lockdown you have to restart your business, the first thing that you will need to alter your processes, to alter your or redesign your workplace, will be cash. So that is where we believe the first thing that they also need to do is conserve cash, reduce fixed operating expenses as far as possible, till you don't see the light of further business recoping itself. That is the first and the most important thing. Secondly, what I also believe is that all the businesses are built with their own unique strength. If we look at this, what are your own unique strength of that business, we need to diversify ourselves at this time and identify whether my business is going to take too long. If that is the case, too long to recover, then that is the case, then at that moment we need to add on to other streams of revenue which can be done, which can be coped up with my existing businesses. Let me give this with an example, because this sounds too theoretical at this juncture. uh, Let me give you an example of one of my clients who is already into travel industry. Now, what they do is they used to take the school kids um, on travel destinations from the school. What As soon as the lockdown began, the first thing we asked them was to communicate with the school teachers and school principals and identify whether they will be taking up the school trips in the next few months or not. So that was the first step, communication, which we asked them to do. And when that happened, we realized that no, the principals and the parents aren't ready to send their kids, even if the COVID lockdown or the COVID is a little mellows down. They are saying we won't send our kids on trips immediately. So if that is the scenario, what we can make out is, okay, तो business तो गया below the drain, क्योंकि अब भी एक साल तो nobody is going to be sending their kids. So that means, will I not do any business further? Obviously not. So what we tried and figured out was, what is the strength of your business? And what we realized is, okay, we have very good nexus and connect with the schools. We have very good nexus and connects with the kids. And kids are going to be, if they do not go out for travel, at the same time, they're still going to be needing some kind of entertainment, though they remain at home. Then why not create something which we can give to our kids when they are at home? So what we did was to adapt to our business model. The change that we asked them to do was, let's keep our customers in our hands and now give them what our customers need. So instead of taking them to travel destinations abroad, what my client is doing as of now, what we suggested them to do was create a product which is related to travel, because that's your strength. Give it to the kids in house, let them see them, let them learn about it, know about it, acquaint about it. Because as it is, when they don't have an opportunity to go out, they'll still need some kind of an entertainment or edutainment being at home. So what they have done is they've started practicing and trying to build a material around it. And probably in another next 1.5 months, they'll be launching their new line of revenue generation, because the travel may not happen immediately. But yes, this is an additional revenue that starts flowing in. And once, say, 6 months or a year down the line, if their normal business, which was earlier there, starts rolling in, then this adds up as an additional revenue. So what's the harm? So I believe that is what all the businesses will have to do: find out their own unique strengths and build something around it. If you see that your business is not going to take up for a long period of time, obviously to do all of this, conserving cash will be something which will be the most important. I think that's all the views that I get as of now.
Thank
If
you
there
so
is
much.
anything else that the panelists, anybody would want to add, I think that will be great.
Anybody wishing to add to this? All right. Then I have a question for Sandeep. Is Sandeep there?
Yeah.
Yes, Sandeep. Is the government considering a modified version of the subinvention scheme to be brought back or something?
See, there are a lot of schemes which are already up and running and which were live till March 20. What we have heard and is that some of those schemes will get extended up to March 21. but since it's a yearly extension, as we talk on 2nd May, we don't know whether the extension is going to happen or not. But in all probability, since it has been happening for last 2 years, the subsidy schemes should get extended by a year.
Okay, okay, fine. I think to a larger extent we manage the questions of the participants. Okay, it was really great. I'm sure the viewers, the participants have had a great session. And before we conclude, I have something to say from my side, being a psychotherapist, being a counselor, and when we are going through tough times, I would suggest that we need to find out ways to time box this event. Like, some daring challenges are coming our way. It's not easy to navigate, I agree. We are going through a roller coaster, like, spiraling things are coming up our way. We are gripped by anxiety, fear, guilt, anger. All this is coming our way. So then how do we manage this now? It's a very simple thing. It's nothing big enough, which I would suggest. It's just that this is a time we are getting to introspect. We're getting the time to introspect, to see where we are, how do we grow ourselves. We have to cool down, keep calm, as I said before also. We have to engage in self-care. Just as the businesses are being, asked to self-care, businesses are made out of individuals, employees. So each one out here needs to be engaging in self-care, which is so, so very important. I'm very sure like all of you have, heard these announcements when we travel through air. It's like, should you experience the cabin pressure when, which drops suddenly, you are asked to stay calm. Okay. And you wait for the oxygen mask to land up from above. And what do? You put it on, but you calm, you're not panicking. So I would just request each and everyone out here, stay calm. Everything's going to be sorted out. But yes, wear your own mask first properly. Do the self-care, which is very important. Eat well, sleep well, drink well, take care, good care of your health as well first, because it's you who has to take care, and then you put on the oxygen mask to the person who's a minor or something. So please take care of yourself, and I'm very sure we all are going to have a safe landing. Just don't worry. So I can just say one thing: the future for all of us is just not denied. Please don't worry, it's a little delayed, but the future is there, it stays. So I'm sure we've had a wonderful time, the participants. Thank you, each one. Thank you.
So thank you all participants and panelists to be there and invest the time, energy, effort, and share the views and experience. Hope it has made a sense to everyone all who has listened us. Thank you so much.
Yes, the panelists were wonderful. I must compliment each one. Excellent. Thank you so much once again.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
कोई भी मतलब उसने 20% डिस्काउंट वाला अनाउंसमेंट नहीं किया. ई क्लास वाला किया, फ्री वाला तो श्रेणिक ने ही कर दिया था, सिर्फ वो डिस्काउंट वाला नहीं किया.
Salvador.